Once upon a time, in the quiet, dusty town of Oguta, there lived a young woman named Adaeze whose heart beat too loudly for a simple life. She was known for her kindness, her long braids, and the way she always looked out across the river like she was waiting for something, or someone. That someone came in the form of a man named Obinna, a soft-spoken stranger with deep-set eyes and an aura that silenced even the noisiest market. No one knew where he came from, only that he arrived during the harmattan, dressed in white and gold, with a leather bag no one ever saw him open. To Adaeze, he was magic. In a village where men often spoke with fist or pride, Obinna spoke with intention. He asked about her dreams. He remembered her favorite yam porridge. He made her feel seen. So when he proposed marriage after just one moon cycle, she said yes, despite the whispers, despite her grandmother's eyes narrowing whenever Obinna passed. But love, as Adaeze would learn, sometimes comes wearing a stranger's face. The emotional crack came slowly. It started with dreams, heavy, slithering dreams. Nightmares where something cold wrapped around her legs in bed. Then came the late nights. Obinna was often gone, returning just before dawn. He never ate in front of her, never prayed, and the house was always cold. One night, driven by fear and the sound of something dragging, Adaeze got up. Her legs trembled, but curiosity and instinct pulled her forward. She reached the sitting room and froze. There, in the half-dark, was Obinna, his skin rippling like scales, his eyes not human. His body was changing, lengthening, writhing as though something was trying to shed its skin. She didn't scream. She couldn't. He turned, looked at her, and in a voice she'd never heard before, a deep, echoing, inhuman, he said, "You're not supposed to see this yet." The next morning, he acted normal, gentle even. But Adaeze didn't say a word. Her body was in the kitchen, stirring soup, but her soul was crouched in a corner, screaming. She confided in her grandmother, who went pale and whispered, "He's not a man. He's a spirit who's tied himself to you. That is no husband. That is a binding." They sought help from a local priestess. Plans were made to break the bond. But breaking a spirit marriage isn't like breaking a human vow. There are consequences. The power shift came when Adaeze stopped being afraid. She began praying, preparing, studying. She discovered she had dreams too, not the ones that happen in sleep, but the ones buried in bone. Dreams that told her the night Obinna came was no accident, that she was chosen, not tricked. And then, just when she was ready to confront him, Obinna vanished. No goodbye. No warning. Just the scent of something burnt and the faint shape of scales across the bed sheets. 3 days later, Adaeze fell violently ill. Fever. Visions. Snake marks appeared around her wrist, as if something had been coiled there, tightly. She thought it was over. But the real story, the true horror, was just beginning. Because the night before the ritual to free her spirit, she woke up to Obinna's voice whispering inside her chest. "You can break the bond, Adaeze, but you can't break what's already inside you." Adaeze lay soaked in sweat, trembling on a raffia mat as her grandmother found her and murmured prayers in a language older than the village. Outside, the priestess prepared the shrine with salt, kola nuts, and river sand, tools to sever the invisible thread that tied Adaeze to something not of this world. But inside her, something stirred. Obinna's voice echoed, not from the walls, but from within her chest. It wasn't a hallucination. It wasn't madness. It was him, a presence, calm, cold, and uninvited. "You opened the door, Adaeze. You can't shut it now." That night, during the ritual, the wind changed. The candles flickered. The walls wept moisture. The priestess's chants faltered as Adaeze began to convulse. Her eyes rolled back. Her mouth opened, and a serpent's hiss escaped her throat. Grandmother screamed. The priestess threw down cowries. He's not just inside her. He's using her as a vessel. That was when Adaeze, or what was inside her, stood up. Her voice, layered with another, said. She called to me. In her loneliness. In her longing. I didn't force my way in, she invited me. For a moment, all fell silent. Then the priestess reached for a gourd marked with ash and blood, the final tool to sever a soul link. But as she raised it, Adaeze's eyes flashed gold, and a gust of wind shattered every mirror in the room. Blood trickled from her nose. But when the entity inside her tried to take over completely, something resisted. It was Adaeze herself. You don't own me, she whispered, voice shaking. You used me. You fed on my pain. But I am not yours. For a moment, Obinna's voice was gone. The house fell deathly still. The priestess moved quickly. She bound Adaeze's wrist with sacred thread, cut from an ancient shrine, and placed a mark on her forehead. You have 3 days, she warned. 3 days to fully separate from him, or your soul will merge with his. The power shift had begun. Adaeze wasn't just a victim anymore. She was waking up to her strength. She was fighting back. But it came with a cost. Each night, as the 3-day countdown began, her dreams grew darker. She would see Obinna standing at the edge of a river, holding a child with her eyes. He would whisper, "Come back. You left something behind." On the second night, she woke up with dirt under her fingernails. She had no memory of leaving the house. On the third morning, her grandmother found a live black snake curled under her pillow, with a red bead in its mouth. The same red bead Adaeze had worn on her wedding day. And then, at sunset on the third day, just as the final ritual was about to begin, Adaeze's belly moved. Once. Then twice. As if something inside her had started to grow. Her grandmother stepped back, trembling. "Adaeze, what did he leave inside you?" She blinked. The reflection was no longer hers. It was a woman, with her face, but serpent eyes. The reflection smiled. "You wanted freedom, but you were born for power." A clearing in the forest. A river that moves backward. A shrine glowing faintly in the distance. As Adaeze stepped toward the ancient shrine, the ground trembled beneath her. She gasped, her stomach moved again. But this time, she had a heartbeat that was not her own. And then, she felt something press against her skin, from inside. She wasn't just carrying a seed. She was carrying a spirit reborn. Last time, Adaeze entered the cursed forest in search of the oracle. But inside her, something ancient had already begun to stir. She wasn't just bound to Obinna. She was carrying his return. A blood-red river curls through the trees. Mist hovers. A shrine sits on the other side, made of stone and bones. She reached the river that didn't flow forward. Time stood still here. She knelt at the edge, clutching her stomach, her breath heavy. And from the mist, a figure emerged. The oracle. She was old, older than time, wrapped in black cloth, her eyes covered in dried leaves. Oracle, low, dry voice. "You came late, but not too late." Adaeze, weak. "There's something inside me, something I didn't choose." And the oracle said, "No. You did choose. In your loneliness, in your hunger, in your desire for more, you opened a door." Adaeze wept. Not out of regret, but out of recognition. Flashback overlay, Adaeze alone before Obinna came. Looking to the river. Whispering in the dark. Adaeze, soft whisper. "I just want someone who sees me. Who will never leave." The oracle looked at her, not with pity, but with truth. "Oracle, you didn't marry a spirit. You summoned one." The river begins to swirl. Backwards. Faster. Louder. To break the bond fully. to destroy the seed inside her. She had to do the unthinkable. Not run, not escape, but enter the river. The one that reversed time, and memory, and blood. Adaeze removes the sacred thread. She steps into the river. Her skin burns. The world spins. Each step peeled something away. Obinna's voice. Her fear. Even parts of herself. But at the center of the river, she saw him. Obinna. No longer handsome. No longer soft. But serpent. Shadow. Smoke. Obinna, final words. If you kill me, you kill the part of you that wanted more. Adaeze, family. I don't need you anymore. A high-pitched hiss. A burst of wind. Then silence. She screamed. And the river turned red. Not with blood, but with release. Adaeze alone at the riverbank. Soaked. Changed. Calm. She came back from the blood river. Empty. But free. Sin fades into her village. She returns barefoot. People stare. Whisper. Bow their heads. No one asked where she went. No one questioned what she had become. They saw her eyes. The strength in her spine. And they knew. She wasn't cursed. She was chosen. A little girl runs past Adaeze. Stops. Looks up. Little girl. Are you a witch? Adaeze, smiling faintly. No. I'm just a woman. Who survived the dark. Thanks for watching till the end. For more interesting story like this, please subscribe to this channel. For more interesting story. Moral lesson of the story. Some bonds are born out of love. Others are forged in loneliness. But every choice we make, whether whispered in the dark or screamed into silence, has a consequence. Adaeze's story reminds us. Be careful what you call to, because it might answer. And once it does, it may never leave. To the listeners. What would you have done if you were Adaeze's shoe? Do you think she summoned Obinna, or was she chosen from the start? Comment below, we want to hear your take on this chilling tale.